Hi, Bright Lights. Welcome and thank you for being here. My name is Tina, and in today's video, we're going to talk about the rest of the month of August and what that means from an energetic level and as your soul contract, level. So I do soul contracts, which is tied to numerology, and August being the new number 8 has some significance. So let's talk about how we can harness this wonderful rest of the month energy in August. And once I'm done reviewing the energy, then I'll pull a few cards and we will see what type of guidance we are getting from our angels and guides as well. So, this month, the theme is really for the number 8 is all about letting go of the past. And this is tied to your emotional body. So you may be going through a lot of changes, and you may already be being see you may already be feeling this month because it is going to trigger a lot of this unprocessed emotional trauma. And I know, we go through enough of that as empaths. It maybe isn't something you necessarily want to hear right now, but it is going to serve a purpose. So we definitely want to harness this energy. So there's going to be three particular areas we're going to talk about in regards to this letting go of the past, which is tied to our emotional body. And it's going to be review, clean up, and move forward. So the first part is the review, and this pretty much the first half of August has been all about retrograde energy. So this is a great time to reflect. This is a time for us to go back into the past and play out things or review things that maybe come up for us. But there's going to be a lot tapped in with emotion. So this can bring up, as I was kind of alluding to, in your emotional body, a lot of nostalgia. So there could be a lot of this feelings of, oh, wanting to go to the past. The past was so great, such a simple time. It was so easy. But this actually is a little bit of a trap. This isn't an illusion. So there's nothing wrong with reflecting and reminiscing and going into the past. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But this illusion tied to nostalgia is wanting us to actually go back to the past. It creates this idea of trying to go back in time and to live in that time. And so this can create a feeling of being stuck. And that's kind of where a lot of stuckness comes from. It's this one foot in the past, not wanting to let go because it's scary to move forward. Our egos like the past because it's something we know, it's something we're comfortable with. But as you know, if you know anything about me and the fact that I do soul contracts, we're always talking about ascension and moving forward and growing in ourselves and becoming those best versions of ourselves. And so we don't want to get stuck in this trap of wanting things to be the way they were. Of the illusion that is telling you that that was such a great place to be, because there was never one time where it was a great place to be. There's always opportunities for growth. There's always going to be challenges, and we can't just live in this dream world that we've created about the past, because that's what we have a tendency to do. So I just want people to be very aware of that. piece of it. And there's also another piece tied to this reflection that we're going through in this retrograde period, which you could see a lot of people coming back from your past. You could see a lot of old patterns flaring up. But we also have what's called an unrequited love model that happens during this type of energy that I'm talking about. And an unrequited love model is another level of idealization, whether you're doing that with a partner or with a place, maybe thinking, oh, if I move to this place, it's going to be so wonderful. If I have this partner, everything would it would just fall into place. And it can even be a political party or a group that this is the way, this is the only way. And so there's a little bit of trap in this unrequited love model because it's usually you pining for something that is unavailable. Usually, that can be a person. We put certain people on pedestals and we think, oh, if I had them in my life, if they were my partner, everything would be so wonderful. All of a sudden, all my problems would go away. I would be whole. I would be complete. I would be happy. I would be fulfilled. And that's the illusion I'm talking about with these unrequited love models. It can also be this love from the past. If you had a past relationship that you tend to go back to time and time again, like, oh, the one that got away, or, oh, you know what, they if they would have just been maybe I didn't see them for who they were. And so it's a trap again, kind of like what I was talking to about the nostalgia, about this over idealized and identified way that we think things should be in our mind, when reality is about being in the present moment. It's about emotional ebbs and flows come with any type of personal relationship you have. It's going to come, ebbs and flows are going to come no matter where you live or what you do. I often talk about I'm going to be moving abroad over in within hopefully the next year. And I have been planning that for some time, but that is not me running away from anything that is going on. That is not me thinking that my whole person is going to change, because like I like to tell people, change is great, but you still have to take yourself with you. And if you're not if you're up in your head and you haven't really grounded yourself, and I'm talking about being in reality, which is the present moment, that can be very disappointing for you, because again, we don't want to overplay these things thinking that this is the answer to our problems, because us doing our inner work is the answer to our problems. Us doing the work now, reviewing, reflecting on our behavior, reflecting on others' behaviors. That's all part of letting go of the past, letting go of things that no longer serve you, letting go of people that no longer serve you, removing yourself from something maybe that's very stagnant. I know for me, I have outgrown many things in my life. And so now it's me being pulled in a direction and seeing that this is actually part of my trajectory. It's part of my growth. It's part of me becoming the next version of myself. But it's not about this illusion that that's going to solve any problems in my life, or that's going to be the answers to everything, because that's not how I view it. So I just wanted to kind of lay out those parts with the nostalgia, the unrequited love. And then there's another aspect to this energy that can be super healing this month, and that's the cleanup. When I talked about there's three core ideas here. It's review, cleanup, and then moving forward. So the cleanup part is actually physically cleaning things. That could be your house, your car, your garage. It's starting to look at the physical things in your life, and also letting go of things that are stagnant, that are old, that are not being used anymore, that are broken. It's clearing out all of this old clutter that we tend to um, bring on in our lives that served a purpose at one time, but then are no longer, we no longer need them. So it's really about cleaning, which is very cathartic, but also about letting go, donating things, cleaning out to make more space for the new to come in. Because as we get closer to the end of the month, this is where we can start to move forward. We can start to put the steps into place to go towards those things that we're being pulled towards. So cleanup is just perfect for this month, letting go of old things and even ideas or ways of being. This can go, cleanup can be all kinds of things, cleaning out toxic ideas and toxic food, and it can even be that, because we're talking about the emotional body, which again, our emotional bodies are so dependent on our physical bodies and how we treat our physical bodies. So again, this can be at all kinds of levels. Cleaning up your body can involve doing fasts or eating, drinking, cleansing diet, doing a couple day cleanse or all of these little aspects. It's a great time to do that in this retrograde period as we're purging a lot of this old stuff that's going on. I know for me, I've been going through old pictures and cleaning up a lot of old things that have been given to me that I don't use anymore and that are just creating a lot of clutter. So I'm letting go of a lot of that stuff. And I hope you do as well, because it is very uplifting to do that. And I'm also focusing too on staying on track with my diet and exercise. And so this is a good month to get massages, to do yoga, to take long walks. I've been doing a lot of walking in nature and getting outside. Even though we've been having some issues with the Canada wildfires here, where I am located, which is close to the Twin Cities. So we've had a lot of bad air quality. So I've been trying to still get outside, but doing it in a way that still remains healthy for me. And so the third part of the whole energy piece that I wanted to bring up was this moving forward. When we get towards the end of the month, it's time now we can start to move forward. And what I'm talking about there is this end of this month is really going to open up new psychic abilities such as clairvoyance, which is starting to see the future more clearly. And that's the future you are moving towards, that you're wanting to attain. Now, like with the nostalgia piece, I will caution you that we don't want to always be in the future, because alignment happens in the present moment, but it doesn't mean that we can't plan, that we don't do our visualization of our future selves. And we want to feel into that emotional body as to how that would feel to be doing that, to be in this place, to be with that person without making it about us, feeling that that's the medicine. We're the medicine, right? We're that those things are not the medicine for us, but these are the things that are pulling us to the new versions of ourselves. They're not necessarily the answers. That's part of our growth. So I'm hoping I'm being clear at the distinction of this. When we move forward, it's also putting in some actual real steps, taking some real action with emotion, with love, with care, to moving towards that new job, that new, like for me, that new place. I'm also in the process of doing moving to part-time so I can do more of this more often, because this is what really lights me up, is to be able to come on here and to be able to teach people about spirituality and what that means, and the alignment part, and hopefully remove some of the confusion. So again, this month moving forward is a good time to do that. So it could be starting new projects, things that light you up, because again, we want to also, as we're clearing that emotional body, we want to feed that body and feed it with great, wonderful laughter and enjoying life and working on something that's really going to it's very healing, right? To work on those things that you love and to do that. For me, I've been laughing a lot about just silly things, about finding the humor in myself and in others, and just these very idiotic ways. But it just feels so good to laugh and to joke. So I invite people to just take a step back if you're overly involved into what's happening in the world, which doesn't make it not real, but you have to take this time to heal yourself, and you can't help anyone else if you are in a low state of mind, a low state of being, because you're just feeding more of that. And that we have enough of that. So it's really important to take care of ourselves. That's what self-love is. It's not being selfish or ignoring other people's needs. It's about making sure we're at our best so we can serve others at our best, so that we can be that best version that we know we can be. And in that process is growing and attaining the things that we want as well. That's not about running people over to get them. It's literally doing it and letting the universe surprise you in a way that you don't expect. So again, we don't want to get too much in that clairvoyant stage where we're trying to control everything and we want to see everything. We want to kind of let things pull us in directions, and we kind of want to get snippets of how things are going to be, because we don't the mind how we know it's not true clairvoyance is that the mind is taking over and trying to control things, and it's judging things. So just be cognizant of that. But this is towards the end of the month, start to put those action items in place for whatever that means for you, and start to feed your emotional body in a much more positive light. So let's pull some cards to see what the angels and guides will have to also say about the month of August and what is important to. Okay, and so this card is coming up. So, and there's a number 11th, and I heard after August 11th, there's this idea of buy the book. So I want to read this, and I love this with the little elephants. I actually have a little statue that I bought because I have three grandchildren, and this was kind of my little wise beings. They come here to show us the way. We forget that children are here to remind us of who we are and who we came to be. And so that really says a lot here in this by the book. So let's just take a peek here and see what this means from the angel's perspective. So the essential meaning is abiding by social rules, conformity, respecting cultural or family customs, and universal laws. So the universe works within a structure of divine laws and principles that provides a framework for human experience and evolution. The law of abundance, the law of prayer, the law of karma, the law of attraction, the law of thought, the law of compensation, and the law of nature are only a few that are known. These principles create perfect order and operate with a kind of precision beyond human understanding. Even revolution has its place in the universal law. Human beings, in turn, have their own laws and customs that vary from culture to culture and family to family. Laws keep social order and govern behavior, reflecting an instinctive understanding that harmony is important. This is a time to learn these laws and conform to them rather than being the rebel and flouting them. With this card appears, submit to structure and follow the rules even if they seem to make no sense. Release resistance, for universal laws will correct any disharmony. Open your eyes to those universal laws, and it will be easier to go by the book at this time. So, this is telling you to basically go with the flow. It's not meant for you to understand everything, but it's to stay in harmony. And like I said, laws, it's not about being this rebel and breaking a bunch of laws to try to fix things, because sometimes we can create too much chaos. And we all know there's a lot of going on. We can see there's a lot of this very rebellious, breaking laws sort of energy going on right now in our government and maybe around us. So it's basically telling you you can still honor those things. And so I think that is a very interesting card to come out right now. So we're going to go to the secret language of light and see if we can continue this. Okay, so now we have the 13. And so then we get into more of this insight. And this is kind of what I was talking about with the emotional body here. And you can see the connecting to source energy. You're going to get the insights, that clairvoyance, and that's a deep knowing is what I'm talking about. So we talking about the universal laws and going by the universal laws, and then coming in with getting that more insight. Insight is on its way, so we don't want to force anything here. And so I always go back to, I want to talk about this idea of rebelling, because again, there is such a thing as good trouble, right? But it's always about rebelling is just harnessing anger and using it to serve rather than hurting or being revengeful. So that's kind of what my guides are kind of sculpting this idea of, by the book. And because I'm one too, is to be careful about going too much by the book if it's hurting others. So we do have to look at family, culture as a whole, and what's going on there, and personally for us as well. And trusting the universe has your back, and everyone's back. So yes, so it's about remembering there's a sacred plan. It's not up to us to just try to force fixing everyone, because I think there's a lot of energy that there needs to be more forceful things happening. And so it doesn't mean that there's no action, because there's a fine line there. Again, it's about knowing, about understanding what it is that you're meant to step up and do at this time. But this is all about the sacred plan and knowing there's more going on than you are aware of. There's more happening than what you're hearing on the news, and what's happening with people. So you're always going to hear the worst of the worst. Um, so what else for August for our people? Aha. So the divine director is coming out. This I love. This is beautiful. And this is intervention and purpose. Divine intervention is occurring. Know that you are being guided. Happiness is your purpose. I love that, because that kind of, we talk about that being in the present moment is where the happiness is, and not focusing too much on the past or too much on the future. And so we are being divinely guided. And that's what I was talking about, letting that open up and letting that guide you this at the end of this month. Again, this first part of the month, we're in this reflection period where we need to be reflecting. It's okay to allow yourself to go back, to take a walk down memory lane, but again, it's to clear out some old things. I had grieved a little bit, about my family and how some of my family members, things haven't really, our relationships haven't really worked out in how I hoped they would work out and what I wanted them to be. But I know that's not for me to decide what somebody else's path should be. So I had to grieve that relationship because I too was a little bit tied up in this idealized version of the relationship, which we can often do as empaths as we over uh, over idealize somebody in our life because we want to hang on to them. And so we make a lot of excuses for them and we see things in them that really aren't there. They're the things we want to see. They're the things we know they can be, but they're not really being that. And so that's the other, I don't want to say trap, but that's the other thing that we're just meant here to learn, all of us. So I want to go to this kind of underworld deck too, because again, we all have to work on our shadows. That's just part of our awakening process and staying, and that's what keeps us really from coming into our spiritual egos, because there's not just your physical ego. We have spiritual egos too. We can be very much um tied into that. And so here out comes the chess queen, number 30th. So towards the end of the month, trust and more strategizing. Like I was saying, towards the end of the month, we're going to be putting in this strategizing piece, the clairvoyance, and putting those plans in place and becoming more clear about how that's going to work. And so this is a good time, like I said, to trust, but to also strategize. So that seems to fit. It's drawn to this card where she's kind of here. We talked about pedestals and not putting people on pedestals, and I see that this person is on a pedestal here. I don't know if you can see that. My lighting, all of a sudden, my lighting went really bright. I don't know if you guys can see that, but there's a woman. She has no legs. She's just sitting on a from the waist up on a pedestal. And so I think that's kind of what we were saying about this over idealizing, anything in our lives. Just starting to look at things as they really are. And that's part of feeding the emotional body in a healthy way. So I do want to go to the gateway of light activation before I pull a spirit animal card. And then I think we'll wrap this August reading up for everybody. So what I'm getting is the Sword of Light, Divine Protection, Cords Cut, Breakthrough Energy. And I feel this is more towards the end of the month after we do this reviewing, is there's going to be more of this breakthrough. Though this is such a beautiful card. I wish everybody could there. That's kind of more in focus, but it is. And so the sword signifies truth and justice and you know cutting cords is, again, that's part of that cleanup I was talking about, which is, again, August is all about letting go of the past that's no longer serving us, and clearing that out of our emotional bodies, making way for the new. It's a beautiful card. I love the colors in that. And so we are going to, just for fun, pull a spirit animal card for this reading. And I love this one. And so this is Sandpiper Spirit. Be playful. The number is 51. 51 is tied to service to others. It's always about the 51% of your energy should be in some type of service. So I love that which adds up to a 6, which is all about creativity. And Sandpiper Spirit is all about being playful, and we want to start to heal that emotional body and bring some light back in There's been a lot of heaviness, July should have been all about, connecting with others too. Um, and in August, it's really about you reaching out and connecting to others. Seven was more about groups, but this can be more about you connecting to a person, a place, or a group. And so be playful. That's the message I would like to end on with this video. So I want to thank you for being here. And yeah, let's just all be a little bit more playful this month. And I plan on doing maybe a few more videos this month. I'm planning to get back online again. So I appreciate everybody support and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thank you.